We back! So the question this video is going to try and answer is whether or not the Lakers are doomed to fail again next season, or if there's actually like a path to get back to contending for a title. When AD and LeBron played together, in their first 2 seasons, they won almost 80% of the games. Last season though, was a disaster, mainly due to injuries, but it's not just injuries, they have other issues too. But if the Lakers can just make the playoffs, they're ultra dangerous, because they have LeBron and they got AD. Before I continue, I just want to remind you to leave a like if you're a Lakers fan, show your support, hit that thumbs up, subscribe so you know when new videos drop. Let's get it. So, last season, the Lakers ended up with a record of 33-49. They were the 22nd offense and the 21st defense. Gross. LeBron played 56 games. AD played 40 games. Not good. Kendrick Nunn played 0 games. Wonderful. Malik Monk and Westbrook. These are the only 2 players that even played over 70 games. So this is pretty much all injuries. So let's talk about the offense. They were a bottom 10 pick and roll team. They mainly ran isolations. They ran the 3rd most isolations, but were kind of middle of the pack, 13th in isolation efficiency. They ran the 4th most post-ups, and they were the 9th best post-up team in efficiency. So finding whoever has got the best matchup and attacking them in ISO and post-ups, that's pretty much their style of play last season. This is what we call like a brute force offense. This is LeBron's whole style of play. His game is developed for winning playoff games. He can find the mismatch he wants, ISO, use his vision and IQ to get a good look every single time down the court. What makes him different is that he's probably in the 95th percentile in pretty much everything out of the post. He can shoot the ball, pass out to cutting and open teammates, get to the rim, get to the free throw line, and if the opposing defense has more than one mismatch, he can set AD up to finish plays too. In the playoffs, LeBron can literally clown teams with his post offense. Remember back in the Suns series where he was posting up Jay Crowder and it looked like easy work? Don't forget that AD ended up getting injured in that series and the Lakers ended up losing the last 3 straight games. So if you can do it well, this is a really effective offense for the playoffs. If they can do it well. Keyword, well. The Lakers did not do it well. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, Russell Westbrook. I guess it looks like he's returning now, but after signing Pat Bev, Dennis Schroeder, that might be evidence that the Lakers might move on from Russ for more like ancillary pieces for depth to fit around the LeBron AD core. There's a lot of blame being placed on Westbrook for last season's poor performance, but there's more to bringing Russell Westbrook to the Lakers than just his struggles on the court. 2 effects bringing Russ onto the team had was, one was the Russ trade itself. 2, unfortunately, is Russell Westbrook himself. Alright, so let's talk about the Russ trade. So the Lakers ended up losing KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the jailbird, who's a good starting shooting guard. They lost Kyle Kuzma, who's a good starting forward. They also lost a draft pick, so they were unable to add to the roster this season. And they brought in salary with Russell Westbrook, so they could not pay Alex Caruso and ended up losing him. He's a great 2-way guard, probably something that they needed last season. Now let's talk about Westbrook himself. Westbrook, he was one of the worst high-volume guards in the league, but he was also one of the main ball handlers on the Lakers. So that's why the Lakers record pretty much reflects how well Russ played last year. Alright, let's talk about Westbrook's shooting now. Let me drop some numbers on you. Fair warning, this might make you nauseous. So last season, there were 178 players that attempted over 150 catch-and-shoot jumpers. Russ was 170th at 31%. He had an effective field goal percentage of 39%, which ranked 51 out of 51 on players that shot over 350 pull-up jumpers. 111 players attempted over 200 shots in the restricted area. Russ was 100th at 58%. There were 17 times where Russ had 6 or more turnovers in a game. 65 players posted up over 50 times. Russell was 60th. 17 players ran over 200 ISOs. Russ was 13th in points per possession. Primary ball handlers, they're supposed to be able to shoot off the dribble, drive to the basket, take care of the ball, ISO on mismatches, This is pretty much what the LeBrons, the Lucas, even the James Hardens of the league can do. Russ was one of the worst in the league at his role. So how Westbrook can have success on the Lakers? Well, technically, the plan was to have AD and LeBron play with Russ, and they didn't. Another effect next season is that Russ's on-ball role will be more limited. The injuries and the lack of the two best players not playing with him, that's not his fault. So next season could look different just by having AD and LeBron play more with him. Now, there's questions about why Westbrook still may not change anything with the Lakers next season. When LeBron and AD did play last season, Russ played the same exact way. He didn't exactly lock in on defense, especially as a help defender. He was not a great pick and roll defender. He didn't adapt when he was off ball. He still just kind of stands, doesn't cut, doesn't set pin down screens for better shooters, so LeBron can't find those shooters. So there's skepticism on my end. Let's talk about LeBron. I'm not going to spend too much time on him. I already talked about how unstoppable his offense is in the playoffs. Last season though, I'll be honest, he was pretty terrible defensively. It could be age, it could be the load that he's got on offense. Pause. But the Lakers should not be relying on a 37-year-old. In December, LeBron's going to be 38. They should not be relying on him for defense. The rest of the players should be stepping up for defense so that a 38-year-old LeBron is the weakest defender. And LeBron can defend when he needs to. Let's talk about AD. I think AD is in that Bam Adebayo tier of players where I believed in the potential, but at this point, you gotta show me before I can say that the flashes are real. Maybe it's injuries, maybe it's work ethic, but he has definitely declined over the last 2 seasons after winning that title. He's only played 76 games over the last 2 seasons. He averaged 23.2 points per game. The year before that, he averaged 21.8. Both are the lowest in his career since 2014. So he's got to show me that he can stay healthy and that he's got that mindset to dominate games like he's supposed to be doing. Now, after the blame's been placed on Russ, on LeBron, on AD, we do have to point our fingers at the Lakers front office. One of the problems with the Lakers in the last few years was that they undervalued role players. The organization gave way too much credit to LeBron and AD in 2020. They underrated the value of role players that contributed massively to that title. Players like Rondo, KCP, Kuz, Dwight Howard, they all excelled at their roles during that title run. This season, the Warriors, they won because they had more depth than the Celtics that were able to actually impact the game. The Grant Williamses, the Al Horfords were not on the Warriors. We had the Andrew Wiggins, the Jordan Pooles, the Gary Payton Jr.'s. You can't just blame Russ, LeBron, AD, the injuries. It's a combination of all those factors that made them totally just miss the playoffs. So let's leave the bad vibes behind. Let's talk about next season. Let's look forward now. So next season, there's a couple of ways the Lakers can turn things around. Perhaps they might hold out for a Kyrie trade. You never know. Kyrie only re-signed for 1 year. They may also turn over to the Utah Jazz, who are having a fire sale for their role players like Rudy Gay, Bogdanovich. So they got some options, but we'll have to see how that actually plays out. Let's talk about the depth chart going into next year. So at guard, the Lakers are going to have Westbrook, Pat Bev, Dennis Schroeder, Lonnie Walker, Kendrick Nunn, Austin Reeves. To be honest, that's a pretty decent guard rotation. However, let's talk about the wing depth chart. They got LeBron, Troy Brown Jr., Juan Toscano Anderson, and Max Christie. In the front court, as their so-called bigs, they got AD, they got Thomas Bryant, Wenyen Gabriel, and Damian Jones. So you can see that the forward and the front court players, their rotation's pretty much AD, LeBron, and a whole bunch of unproven players. Not that impressive. So spacing is definitely going to be an issue for this team. I mean, players like Austin Reeves, Kendrick Nunn, they have to show up more consistently, but Kendrick Nunn literally just has to play because he's a great catch and shoot 3-point shooter. He shoots 42% on catch and shoots over his career. A lot of other players are just not good shooters, or at least don't provide that shooting threat to defenses. So one way to fix that spacing is trading Russ to Utah for Bogdanovich and Rudy Gay, who both provide that shooting threat. So either young players have to develop, or they'll have to actually trade Russ for known players that can shoot. This could be a middle-of-the-pack offense as long as Russ is on the team, so he might actually be putting a limit on the ceiling of the team offensively. If Russ is going to stay next season, there's a couple things he can do to actually be a success next season. He's still big, physical, strong. He's still a great athlete. He's supposed to be, this whole time, He's supposed to be bullying smaller guards. They were able to move him to be a secondary creator, not move him to the bench, but playing him more minutes with the bench so he can play with the ball in his hands. Or when he does play with LeBron and AD, he needs to be moving off the ball to create attention, screen for teammates, crash the offensive boards, cut, especially when there are teams that have specifically good matchups for him. He should be taking advantage of that. He also should be using his body and his physicality on defense, especially as a help defender, is going to be super useful for the Lakers. If he can become that off-ball help defender, they don't have to actually go and trade him. He would literally fill some of the holes on the roster. So now let's talk about my X factor for the Lakers, who I think may actually be the key to a lot of what I've been talking about in terms of weaknesses for the Lakers. My X factor is going to be the defense of Darvin Ham. That's my guy, the new head coach. The Lakers roster has terrible, poor perimeter defenders, but they've got strong interior defense. Darvin Ham, he used to be in Milwaukee, and he used to be part of the defense where Milwaukee had Giannis and Brook Lopez, the two bigs system. Similar to the Bucks, the Lakers could also give up threes and completely lock down the rim. Swapping out Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan for Thomas Bryant and Damian Jones is going to improve that interior defense and just younger players. They still already got AD and LeBron, so that interior defense could be one of the best in the league if Darvin Ham can actually have his way. Pat Bev, as the point of attack defense, is also going to be able to set the tone. I get it, he's a try-hard mentality type of player, but at least that might trickle over to the rest of the team, especially for like AD and LeBron. AD, LeBron, Pat Bev, Austin Reeves, who's a surprisingly physical defender. That would be a great defensive rotation. As long as everyone stays healthy, they could be a top 5 defense. It's the offense that's really going to need just more availability of their best players. So there's a wide range of outcomes. They can literally go and compete for the title, or they can literally miss the entire playoffs. But to me, as long as the Lakers have LeBron, AD, and Russ healthy for the playoffs, they should be a contender for the title. I'm not one to bet against LeBron. I've made way too much money betting on LeBron in the playoffs, so still remains to be seen how this whole thing shakes out next season. But that's all I got for you today. If you're a Lakers fan, leave a like, show your support, subscribe so you know when new videos drop, and drop your predictions in the comments for what the Lakers are going to do next season. Again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.